Hello and welcome to the Easy Peasy Music Theory course for kids. I'm Miss Christine. We have more learning to do, so let's get to our next lesson. All right, and welcome to lesson 14. We're talking about the quarter note and the quarter rest, and I'll share my screen right now. All right, so it's review time. Let's see what you remember. So let's look here at this first box. We have a symbol in music. It's some kind of rest. And what does this tell us in music when you see this symbol? Kind of looks like that hole in the wall we talked about. Do you remember the name? That's right. Yes, it is a whole rest. And how many beats does a whole rest get? Yes, 4 beats of silence. That's it. All right, now let's take a look at the other symbol because they can be quite confusing, right? So now we have this symbol. And what does this tell us in music right now? It's sort of the reverse of the whole rest, and it sits on the third line, on top of the third line. And it is, yes, a half rest. How many beats does a half rest get? You betcha it gets 2 beats of silence. Simple and easy. Good job. Let's move along. All right, so here we have what kind of note? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in our donut, our whole donut. Kind of looks like our whole note. And we know from the previous lesson that a whole note gets 4 beats. And how does it sound? Ta. Excellent. And then here is our half note. And we have 1, 2 pieces, a half of a donut. And our half note gets 2 beats. So here's our whole note. A whole note gets 4 beats. Here's our half note, and a half note gets 2 beats. And how does a half note sound? Ta. Good job. All right. Now we're going to move along. So here is what kind of rest is sitting on the third line. We just talked about that. When you see this rest that's sitting on top of the third line, kind of looks like a snowman hat. It makes us think of what? The half rest. Good job. And now we have the fourth line. Now we have some kind of rest hanging from the fourth line. You can think of it as a hole in the wall. I'm sorry, a hole in the ground, but it is our whole rest. Nice work. So that's a quick review. Now we want to talk about the quarter note and the quarter rest. Well, what does it look like? Here we have a quarter note, and it has a stem, just like the half note we talked about. And here is the note head, but the difference is it's filled in. So when you see a symbol that looks like this is our quarter note. Now, if we go back to our donut, remember that whole donut? What happens if we were to turn this donut into 1/4? Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Here we have 1 removed, 2, 3, and now we have only 1 piece of our donut left. And so you figured out this 1/4 note right here gets 1 beat. And we would hear it as ta. If you were to try that with me, it's nice and easy to clap your hands. Ta. Let me hear you try it. Excellent job. All right. So now here is our quarter note, and it's a sound that lasts 1 beat, just like we practiced. Ta or ta. You can clap your hands. Now let's look at this one more time. What happens if we have a quarter note here? That's 1. A quarter note here. That's another 1. A quarter note here. That's another 1. A quarter note here. another one. So we add up all of these quarter notes. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 would equal our 4 beats. And it would sound like this. Ta, 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 ta. Real simple. All right. Now let's move along. Here are 4 quarter notes that are separated. So we hear a separation between them. Ta, 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 ta. And here again is our whole note. And the whole note is held. So we hear a continuous flow. Ta. So now we're going to talk about the quarter rest. And this is the quarter rest. And some people say it looks like a sideways bird or a mustache, but this is our quarter rest. And a quarter rest is a silence in music that gets 1 beat. Shh, let me hear you try that. Shh. Good job. All right. And here is a rest review. We have our whole rest, which we know gets 4 beats. And then when we break our whole rest down, it equals to 2 half rest. Okay, so we know a half rest equals 2 beats. And then if we break that down, we have our quarter rest, which equals 1 beat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the equivalent of a whole rest, but the quarter rest gets the 1 beat that we talked about. All right, and it's a silence. All of these are a silence in music, but they have different durations. Okay, now if we have a little fun, we can perform using our body percussion, And that's either clapping your hands, stomping your feet, snapping your fingers, shoulders, whatever you like. But I prefer, you can even tap your shoulders. I prefer just clapping my hands or tapping my knees. You can do whatever you please. All right, as long as you're using a part of your body to make a sound. So here we have a quarter note and a rest demo. And here we have ta, 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 sh, sh, ta, sh, ta, sh, ta, 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 ta. All right, but now I just was speaking the rhythm, right? Rhythmically reading on ta. But now it's time for us to clap our hands. So I'm going to get my hands in the ready position and I'm going to say 1, 2, ready, begin. Ta, 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 sh, sh, ta, sh, ta, sh, ta, 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 ta. Did you see that? I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to use my little pen to point to each note, and I'll tap my table here. 1, 2, ready, and ta, 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 sh, sh, ta, sh, ta, sh, ta, 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 ta. All right, and you can practice along with me. Nice work. All right, we're going to move along. So it's rhythm time, and we're talking about the quarter note and the quarter rest. So as a review, what is this symbol when we see it in music? Yes, that's right. It is a quarter note. All right, and how many beats does a quarter note get? It's 1 beat. It's a sound that gets 1 beat. And what is this little symbol here? Kind of looks like a sideways bird, but we call it in music a quarter rest. Good job. And what or how long does a quarter rest get? How many beats does a quarter rest get? That's right. It is a silence in music that gets 1 beat. So that is a nice quick review. Now, if we were to have a little fun, let's see if we put all of these notes and rest, and let's see if you can remember all of them. So here we have our whole note, and we have to find which symbol is a whole note. Oh, which one is it? That's right. It's this one. It kind of looks like that whole donut. And we're going to put that there. And now we have to find the whole rest. And the way to remember the whole rest sits where it or hangs on the fourth line, makes you think of that hole in the ground. So that must be this symbol here. And when we're dealing with the whole rest, or whole note, the whole note and the whole rest gets 4 beats. Good job. So I'm going to put my 4 there. Okay. And now we have our half note or half rest. And so now we're going to first deal with the note. Which symbol is the half note? Oh, that's right. It has the stem with the note head and it's not filled in. So we're going to put our half note here. And what about our half rest? Well, we know the half rest sits on the 3rd line, right? And we can think of our snowman hat, and that is this symbol here. And how many beats does a half rest get? It gets 2 beats. So I'm going to put my number 2 there. And last but not least, we have our quarter note or quarter rest. And the first thing we're going to talk about is which symbol is the quarter rest. And we know it has a stem and a note head filled in. And so we're going to drag our quarter rest right there in that box. And then we have to find our quarter rest. And we know this is our quarter rest. Kind of looks like that sideways mustache or a little bird. But this is our quarter rest. And how many beats does a quarter note and a quarter rest get? It gets 1 beat. Good work. All right. So that is a little overview of our quarter note and our quarter rest. All right, so let's talk about what you learned today. All right, so you learned about the quarter note. The quarter note is held for 1 beat, and you know the quarter rest is held for 1 beat as well. The difference is the quarter rest is a silence in music, and a quarter note is a sound in music that gets 1 beat. All right, we also know that the quarter note has a stem and a note head that is filled in. Okay, so make sure you realize you know how to identify a quarter note. And the duration of 4 quarter notes, ta, 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 equal what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 beats. Good job. Now let's talk about our homework. All right, so your homework for this week or this assignment is to add the notes that we talked about so far. All right, so you know that a half note, which is right here, gets 2 beats, and a quarter note, or excuse me, a quarter rest gets 1 beat. So you have to add 2 plus 1 equals what? 3. And I'm not going to tell you too much more. That's your homework for this week. So good job this time around, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.